protection, talking data defense.
Ready to tackle that building project? Start right. Start here at H&L Rapid True Value for building supplies. The time by H&L Rapid True Value is
Nationwide time, 5 o'clock.
Learn about smart betting strategies with AnyBet. Bet wisely, enjoy responsibly, and maximize your success. The temperature by AnyBet is...
It's 31 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 29 in Montego Bay.
From the Nationwide News Network, comprehensive, incisive, tough. This is Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Robianne Williams.
And I'm Mahiri Stewart.
In Nationwide News at this hour, family of 3 fishermen missing at sea since Friday, hopeful that they'll be found alive.
I just can't come to the grips that not knowing that my father is not home. Hopefully, I don't know when we can hear a positive news.
Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith hits back at critics who say the Holness administration is threatening the country's democracy.
The health minister is rejecting calls from the PNP to resign over the recent deaths of 24 premature babies at Victoria Jubilee Hospital.
The JLP's Everald Warmington apologizes for using expletives on a political platform.
I recognize that my comments on the platform yesterday were inappropriate.
JFJ renewing call for people deemed mentally ill to be placed in rehabilitation care instead of correctional facilities.
In news from the rest of the world, appeals court weighs Trump's use of wartime law to deport Venezuelans.
Unprecedented alerts in France as blistering heat grips southern Europe.
In headline sports, a former Jamaica and West Indies batting star voices frustration over umpiring decisions in West Indies-Australia first test in Barbados.
And later in our broadcast, in our cover story at 5:35, the Special Select Committee of the Senate tasked with crafting an elderly care and protection bill tabled its report. We'll hear from the committee's chairman, Senator Shireen Golding Campbell.
In public opinion at 6:26, we ask what punishment, if any, should Everald Warmington face for using expletives on the political platform? Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio, and message us on WhatsApp at 876-285-5693. You can also leave your comments on Instagram at Nationwide 90FM.
In the nation's business at 6:40, you'll hear Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness's address at the JLP's Northeast Manchester Workers' Award ceremony on Sunday, courtesy of the Jamaica Labour Party. All these and more as we take you home on air on your mobile, Nationwide 90FM, nationwideradiojm.com, and on the Nationwide app available on Google Play and the App Store. This Monday afternoon, it's the last Monday in June 2025.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. A search operation is still underway for 3 fishermen who have been missing at sea since Friday, June 27. According to reports, the 3 men left the Marine Police Division station at the Kingston waterfront around 4:30 a.m. to go fishing. Their boat, which is usually docked near the station, has not returned. Robianne Williams reports.
The missing fishermen have been identified as 71-year-old Lestin Duncan Sr., also known as Fat Jaw, his 29-year-old son Lestin Duncan Jr., known as Tat, and their 24-year-old cousin Kemarley Nelson, who goes by the name Quick. Duncan Sr.'s daughter Simone Duffer says the family grew concerned when the men failed to return at their usual time.
Upon realizing in the evening that the boat was being seen at the usual parking area, when the boat was seen, my stepmother was contacted asking if he was there. So based on that, we become suspicious because my dad would normally come in by between anytime 1:30 to 4 o'clock, and because of not seeing him, we alert the Marine Police and a search was conducted. It's still being conducted. So we're just here hoping, praying that we get some news, something to say if they are either drift to somewhere else from their normal place that they normally fishing. We just want them home.
She described her father as a seasoned fisherman with decades of experience. She says this was the first time her cousin Kemarley had gone out to sea to fish.
He's always talking that he wants to go to fishing, and he took the opportunity for the first time and went along with my father, my brother, who is a regular fisherman. My father's been doing fishing from age 9, so over the period of years, now he's 71, so you can check the years. Most people know him across this section. Some know him back in Old Harbour.
Duffer says her father would typically fish in the Helsher and Rift Creek areas. She remains hopeful for the safe return of her father and her other relatives.
I just can't come to the grips that not knowing that my father is not home. His wife is at home right now, trying to cope. We have to be strong for her. Hopefully, I don't know when, we can get a closure. We can hear something, a positive news. We are not looking for nothing negative, but positivity. We are praying that Father God, Jehovah will show us something, help to let somebody see them wherever they are and bring them home back to us.
In the meantime, the Marine Police have confirmed that multiple search operations have already been carried out in targeted areas, with more searches being planned. The Jamaica Defence Force JDF Coast Guard and the JDF Air Wing have also joined the ongoing efforts to locate the missing men. Robeanne Williams for Nationwide News.
Foreign Affairs Minister Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith has hit back at critics who say the Holness administration is threatening the country's democratic traditions. She was responding to recent criticisms from sections of civil society and the opposition PNP, raising the specter of tyranny and authoritarianism. But speaking in West Kingston on Sunday, Senator Johnson-Smith says only the PNP have ever taken actions that can be considered a threat to Jamaica's democracy. Shaloi Smichael has more in this report.
The usually diplomatic Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith did not hold her punches as she criticized the PNP's escalating rhetoric, alleging that the government has been steering the country towards autocracy. The Foreign Affairs Minister asked the Jamaicans to recall the 1976 state of emergency, in which political rivals of the then PNP government were imprisoned in the run-up to a general election.
They should not be able to open their mouth to talk about democracy. And why is that? Why is that? I see some people laughing because they know the answer. There is one government, one political party in this country that has ever locked up members of the opposition for their political beliefs. And who is that? That is the PNP.
Johnson-Smith, who is also leader of government business in the Senate, criticized the PNP's attempts to politicize the civil service in the 1970s through the so-called Pickersgill Committee. The committee required members of the independent civil service to declare their political allegiance to the PNP's democratic socialist ideals before they could be considered for government jobs. Johnson-Smith says only the PNP has ever attempted such a scheme.
One political party that had a whole committee that was established to make sure that people who work in the public sector carry their membership card. Who is that? That is the PNP. There is only one political party who say that they must run with it to win the election and then they will correct it after. Who is that party? That is the PNP.
The foreign minister also reminded her audience of the PNP's attempts to stack civic bodies and organizations. She says the JLP has never endorsed such a policy when in government.
And it's one political party that made it their policy to try to fill up the civic organizations and the community organizations with their people so that they can carry their political line and they can get more state benefits. You remember when they show the Asamba, when they catch Asamba on the video saying that we have it on tape. Exactly. This is not anybody making things up. This is the reality.
Shaloi Smichael for Nationwide News.
Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton is rejecting calls from the opposition PNP to resign over the recent deaths of 24 premature babies at Victoria Jubilee Hospital. News of the baby's death that came last week. Dr. Tufton says the governing JLP will not mirror the mistakes of the opposition during their time in power in 2015.
PNP has a theory about call for resignation and start comparing what happened in 2015 with what has transpired here in 2025. Their comparison with 2015 when they were there is a wrong comparison. None of us on our side has ever made a statement about babies not being babies in the real sense. In fact, we have learned from their mistake, from the errors of their ways, and they seem to be still haunted by the nightmares of 2015. We're not going to go down that road. We empathize and we must give support to those who are going through the trauma of the experience of premature risks and premature deaths.
The 24 babies all died at the hospital in June. Following the reports, the Southeast Regional Health Authority, SARA, clarified that most of the babies were born prematurely and were already at risk of serious illness. SARA explained that the babies had low birth rate and were born too early, making them more vulnerable. And Chief Medical Officer Dr. Jacqueline Bisesa McKenzie has also noted that there's no infection outbreak at the hospital, but the opposition has rejected the findings by SARA. Opposition leader Mark Golding and his spokesman on health, Dr. Alfred Dawes, have voiced their concerns on what they consider systemic failures in the hospital's neonatal care. But Dr. Tufton says the country's neonatal system has seen significant improvement since the government took office in 2016.
The system that we have been working to build back, having succeeded them in 2016, is aimed at addressing these risks. And we have systems when these risks occur, intervene to cauterize and hopefully try to eliminate. This government has spent nearly $4 billion on primary health care renewal, building out health centers since 2016.
Dr. Christopher Tufton, Health and Wellness Minister. He was speaking to party supporters at a JLP Workers' Awards function in central Westmoreland on Sunday. Member of Parliament for South West St. Catherine Everald Warmington has withdrawn and apologized for using expletives on a political platform in Westmoreland on Sunday. Warmington used inappropriate and offensive remarks as he urged JLP supporters in Westmoreland Central on Sunday to vote, even if they're dissatisfied with their MP. Mahiri Stewart reports.
The firebrand JLP veteran MP was at the podium in Westmoreland urging Labourites to vote for Andrew Holness even if they dislike their Member of Parliament, George Wright.
You may not like him, Member of Parliament. You don't want him. Maybe an apple. But maybe him better than PNP apple. Yes. So work with him. If you think you'll vote for George Wright, when the behind the screen, close your eyes. We're not using language just now. We're using your eyes. And say, me a vote for Andrew Holness. Now George Wright, don't stay home. Vote for your party. Put the X beside the bell. Put it beside the bell.
Everald Warmington's offensive comments quickly drew the ire of PNP General Secretary Dr. Dayton Campbell. He called on JLP leader Dr. Andrew Holness to sanction Warmington for using expletives on stage. Dr. Campbell went a step further, calling for Warmington to face criminal sanctions.
Prime Minister of the country. And he continues to go on the platform and say he's asking for decency. And his party is campaigning on decency. I want to know what sort of disciplinary action will the Prime Minister of Jamaica, who said he's asking for decency, what disciplinary action will he take against Everald Warmington? I am calling on the JCF to charge Everald Warmington for his behavior on the platform.
In a statement on Monday accompanied by an 11-second audio clip, Warmington apologized.
I recognize that my comments on the platform yesterday were inappropriate, and I regret offending anyone with the comments I made, so I do withdraw them and apologize.
Mahiri Stewart for Nationwide News.
You're listening to Nationwide News at 5. More news after these.
Annual eye examinations not only assess your vision but may be life-saving. Eye tests may detect serious health issues that go beyond your vision, including diabetes, hypertension, and some cancers. Call IQ Optical to schedule your comprehensive eye test today. The time by IQ Optical is
15 minutes after 5.
Rentokil Initial offers air purification solutions with triple filtration and unique auto-sensing capabilities that neutralizes malodor and replaces it with clean air. Call Rentokil Initial at 926-4236 for more details.
The temperature by Rentokil is...
It's 31 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 29 in Montego Bay.
Tired of waiting for your ride? Want safety and peace of mind on every journey? Amber On Time is here! With verified drivers, real-time vehicle tracking, and panic button with armed security response, your safety is our priority. Reliable service, easy booking, premium experience, it's all just a tap away. Download Amber On Time today!
50 years of dreams. 50 years of finger-licking good memories, yeah.
Thank you, Jamaica, for 50 years of finger-licking good memories. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Continuing the news, a renewed call is being made to end the practice of detaining people deemed mentally ill in correctional facilities rather than placing them in rehabilitative care. This after a mentally ill man who spent nearly 50 years in prison without trial is to be awarded $120 million in compensation from the government. Administrator and project coordinator at Stand Up for Jamaica, Catrion Clark, says rehabilitation programs would better allow them to get the assistance they need.
Having mentally ill persons in the correctional system isn't going to, quote unquote, cure their illness. All it does is to add to the overcrowding. We believe that there are steps that can be taken in terms of creating diversion programs for mentally ill persons. We're not at all saying that if they commit a crime, they are to get off scot-free. However, it can be seen that if you have mental incapacitation, there is grace that should be extended.
The mentally ill man, George Williams, was taken into custody in December 1970 for a charge of murder. He was kept in custody at the court's pleasure because he was deemed unfit to plead. Ms. Clark says Williams's case is one of more than 100 mentally ill people in prison who've never been tried. It's understood the Bellevue Hospital in Kingston was originally used to house the mentally challenged awaiting trial, but the practice was scrapped in the 1970s. Ms. Clark says to date, there have not been any legislative changes to better treat those detained but unfit to plead.
There have been additional staffing provided by the correctional services within the prison. More psychologists, more psychiatrists have been hired. However, that's basically the gist of what has changed. There haven't been, in our opinion, any systemic changes by the government. There hasn't been anything that have been put in writing or that we have seen actions being taken.
Catrion Clark, administrator and project coordinator at Stand Up for Jamaica. She was a guest on the Jamaicans for Justice JFJ produced show Let's Talk Justice, aired on Nationwide 90 FM on Mondays.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
The World in a Minute. A federal appeals court heard oral arguments on Monday on whether the Trump administration can use a wartime law to deport Venezuelans. The Fifth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals is weighing whether Venezuelan migrants being held at the Blue Bonnet Detention Facility in Anson, Texas, can be deported under the 18th Century Alien Enemies Act. An American Civil Liberties Union, ACLU, lawyer has argued for the detainees. He says the 1798 law was meant to be used during wartime. He told the court that the law cannot be applied now, as the U.S. government itself has said it isn't in a military conflict with Venezuela. The Trump administration has said the detainees are members of a Tren de Aragua, a violent Venezuelan gang, but the ACLU has disputed that claim. It says many of its clients have legitimate asylum claims.
A record number of heat alerts are in place across France as the country and other parts of southern and eastern Europe remain in the grip of soaring temperatures. 16 French regions, including Paris, have been placed on red alert for tomorrow, Tuesday, the country's highest. 68 others are on orange alert. On Monday, 84 of 96 mainland regions were under an orange alert, which France's climate minister called an unprecedented situation. Heat warnings are also in place for parts of Spain, Portugal, Italy, Germany, the UK, and Balkan countries, including Croatia. Both Spain and Portugal had their hottest June days on record at the weekend. Many countries have emergency medical services on standby and have warned people to stay inside as much as possible.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
Recapping the top stories making nationwide news at this hour, family of 3 fishermen missing at sea since Friday, hopeful that they'll be found alive.
Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith hits back at critics who say the Holness administration is threatening the country's democracy.
Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton rejecting calls from the PNP to resign over recent deaths of 24 premature babies at Victoria Jubilee Hospital.
The JLP's Everald Warmington apologizes for using expletives on a political platform.
I recognize that my comments on the platform yesterday were inappropriate.
I'm Robianne Williams.
And I'm Mahiri Stewart.
You can find the news on our website at nationwideradiojm.com and on the Nationwide app available on Google Play and the App Store. News next, the headlines at 6.
50 years of dreams. 50 years of finger-licking good memories, yeah.
Thank you, Jamaica, for 50 years of finger-licking good memories. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Is your money idling when it could be thriving? With CIBC Caribbean's fixed deposit offering, you can take charge of your cash. With 50,000 Jamaican to start, choose terms from 30 days to 2 years. Lock in your funds and enjoy premium rates guaranteed to grow your wealth. Whether you're eyeing short or long-term gains, our fixed deposit account puts you firmly in control of your money. Now is the time to open a CIBC fixed deposit account and start earning more today. CIBC, ambitions made real.
Residents of Portmore, you spoke and we listened. JPS is returning to the Sunshine City. Starting July 2025, you'll be able to visit the My JPS Care Hub inside Fontana Portmore. Get answers to queries related to billing, payment, prepaid electricity, service requests, and more. Our agents will be on the ground to ensure you are in and out in no time. Look out for the My JPS Care Hub in Fontana Portmore, coming this July. JPS, powering what matters.
We don't want to have a security force where people fear our police more than they fear gunmen. Every officer here, what they really want when they walk out in their community is that people say, I want my son to follow in your footsteps. They want respect, and they know they can't get that respect if people just fear them as how they fear criminals. So let us invest in building a security force that we can all be proud of. I want the security force that we are building to have ultimate and utmost respect for human rights. Let us make our JCF the force for good, the force to protect us. There were transgressions in the past. There are members of the force who they haven't got the memo yet, but I'm certain that the system that is in place in the JCF with the new leadership and command, that when officers violate, they will be dealt with. This is a world-class policing institution that we are building, one in which you can be proud and one that will be an example for the rest of the region.
The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Sports at 5 is brought to you by Total Tools. Total Tools, every tool, every trade.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. Legendary West Indian batsman and Jamaican cricket icon Lawrence Grow has voiced his frustration over questionable umpiring decisions that he believes significantly impacted the West Indies in the first test against Australia in Barbados. Rowe pointed to South African third umpire Adrian Holstock's controversial calls as a major turning point in the game. Despite the assistance of replay technology, at least 3 decisions went against the home side, leaving the West Indies camp deeply aggrieved.
We got 2 decisions at a very bad time, 2 bad decisions, a very bad time in the game, which I thought would have put us in a much better position. We had an opportunity to lead on first innings and probably lead by a reasonable amount. And if we had done so, we would have been in the game. I'm not going to say we would have won it, but it would have been a much closer game if we, if those decisions didn't go against us. It was terrible because it's the third umpire and you get a chance to view it properly and to look at it. I just can't understand how he had made those mistakes because I saw them and, with the one with Head, Travis Head. Correct. I thought he had made the right decision by calling it in favor of the batsman, but then when our turn came, he didn't do that. He went the other way, which is not consistent in my opinion.
Rowe highlighted the dismissals of batsman Shea Hope and captain Ruston Chase as particularly damaging, saying he scarcely believed they were out. The batting stylist said it was even more damaging to the West Indies' chances because both batsmen were batting well, both on 40-odd and looking set. The former batting great, who was speaking on I-95 FM in Trinidad this weekend, argued that chasing a target of 170 or 180 to win the test would have been far more manageable than the daunting 300 set by the Aussies.
In Hope and the skipper, I didn't think both of them was out. And it turned the game on its head because they were batting well. They ran 40 at a piece and was looking very good. And on that wicket, you have to get in on it. And these guys were in and could have given them some trouble, because at least one of them probably could have scored 100 if we had gone on. And if we had given them 70 to 100 lead, you never know what would happen. If we had to chase 170 in the second innings, that would be a different picture and a different mindset altogether when the guys go into bat. But chasing down 300 was a little bit difficult on the track.
Lawrence Yagaro, West Indies head coach Darren Sammy, has been fined 15% of his match fee for openly criticizing the match officials in the aftermath of that defeat. Sammy was deemed to have breached level 1 of the ICC's code of conduct during the second day of the match, which Australia went on to win by 159 runs on Friday. The sanction relates to comments made by Sammy during a media interaction at the end of the day, where he criticized one of the match officials in reference to multiple incidents throughout the day's play. Sammy was found to have violated Article 2.7 of the code, which pertains to public criticisms of or inappropriate comment in relation to an incident occurring in an international match or any player support personnel, match official or team participating in any international game. Multiple World and Olympic Games champion Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce says she's happy to be heading back to the scene of her first senior global championships to bring the curtain down on her amazing 18-year career. Fraser-Pryce, who will be 39 in December, qualified on Friday at the National Stadium to represent the country at one last global championship, the World Outdoors in Tokyo, Japan in September. The third place finish in the 100 meters means Fraser-Pryce booked her spot alongside Shericka Jackson and the winner Tina Clayton. 17 years ago, the then little-known Fraser-Pryce was part of the Jamaican squad which took part in the World Championship in Osaka, Japan. The following year, 2008, was her breakout when she went on to win Olympic gold in Beijing, China, before going on to become arguably the greatest female sprinter of all times. But Japan is where it all started, and there's where it's going to end.
Closing out a national championship is wonderful. I have to give God thanks for tonight. Only Him could have done this tonight. And I'm excited. I came out here. One thing I knew I had on my side was experience. And I know it's never over until it's over. And I'm grateful for that fighting spirit and that spirit that says, once I step to the line, I'm ready to go. So, for me, I'm just excited to be on another team and look forward to going to Tokyo. A lot of persons wouldn't have known. Japan is where I actually started my first senior championship. So it's such a full circle moment to go back to Japan. And I'm just really excited, grateful, going back to put the race together. And we just hope for the best.
Shelley and Fraser Price. And finally in sports at the Star, the Jamaican international Demarai Gray is heading back to the Premier League in England. Gray will move back to his boyhood club Birmingham City pending a medical after agreeing to leave the Saudi Arabian outfit Al Ettifaq after 2 years. Gray rose to footballing prominence after breaking through at Birmingham, scoring a hat-trick in the championship against Reading in his first full season, in which he also scoped the Blues Young Player of the Year award in the 2014-15 season. Having won the championship's best centre-forwards to play in tandem with will be a massive benefit to Gray and could help him quell those reservations about his signing while firing Birmingham to a top 6 place come next season. At sports, we're going to be back with more at 6:05 this evening.
Sports at 5 was brought to you by Total Tools. Total Tools, every tool, every trade. Bosco Bell St. Mary is your newest gateway to Miami. Daily flights are available for your convenience. The temperature brought to you by the Airport Authority of Jamaica is
32 degrees Celsius here in the nation's capital, Kingston. It's 29 in the western city, Montego Bay.
50 years of dreams. 50 years of finger-licking good memories, yeah.
Thank you, Jamaica, for 50 years of finger-licking good memories. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Are you burning up with this summer heat? The place hot, man. Get cool now with a Hisense air conditioner. I feel good. With advanced energy-saving inverter technology and whisper quiet operation. Beat this heat with Hisense. Available at Aliabra Brands Limited, 64 Hagley Park Road, or call 876-676-5951 now.
So good. So good. I got you.
Share in the experience at Fontana Pharmacy. We have a wide variety of items in store just for you. Fill your prescriptions while you shop. And senior citizens enjoy 10% off. Shop household, cosmetics, toys, and many other departments. We also offer curbside pickup and delivery. Visit our website at fontanapharmacy.com. Fontana Pharmacy, where it's all good inside.
Looking for superior quality transportation from an international award-winning provider? Well, look no further. Choose Island Car Rentals, Jamaica's leading car rental company, setting the standard for road transportation in Jamaica. For over 50 years, Island Car Rentals has been your trusted partner for reliable, top-quality vehicles. But we're more than just a car rental company. Need an airport transfer at any hour? Heading out of town and want to travel in style with a private chauffeur? Need a truck to rent for business or personal use? Or maybe you need a customized shuttle or tour for a large or a small group? Whatever your transportation need, Island Car Rentals has you covered. Call us today at 876-926-8012 or 876-929-5875 or visit www.islandcarrentals.com to book your next trip. Because Island people take better care of you. For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards, and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales for a better choice in the electrical business.
Residents of Portmore, you spoke and we listened. JPS is returning to the Sunshine City. Starting July 2025, you'll be able to visit the My JPS Care Hub inside Fontana Portmore. Get answers to queries related to billing, payment, prepaid electricity, service requests, and more. Our agents will be on the ground to ensure you are in and out in no time. Look out for the My JPS Care Hub in Fontana Portmore, coming this July. JPS, powering what matters.
Nago Head St. Catherine, Greenleaf Medical and Diagnostics has opened its door at 55 Newland Road to assist you with all your medical needs. Visit and get the services of a general practitioner, pediatrician, gynecologist, and surgeon. They also do all tests: ultrasound, pap smear, ECG, and diagnostic testing. Open Mondays to Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Telephone 876-740-1224. Greenleaf Medical and Diagnostics, your medical partner in Nago Head.
Cover Story is brought to you by
Multilink. Roll with control. Use Multilink. Safe, fast, and accepted in more locations.
Multilink. Access every time, everywhere I go. Multilink. 24/7 access for me. It's just a win-win when we use Multilink. This card is Jamaican built, yeah. Fast and secure, you can use anywhere. Spend while supporting the economy.
Look for the Multilink logo on your card and benefit from Jamaica's largest debit payment network.
Multilink. 24/7 access for me.
What would I do without my Multilink?
Good afternoon, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us here on Nationwide at 5. I'm Cliff Hughes.
Well, the afternoon to you listeners on our 90 FM band and of course our viewers on YouTube. I'm Tyrone Reid. Good afternoon to you, Sir Cliff.
Good afternoon, Tyrone. How are you doing?
Not too shabby. This kind of feels like the old days.
Yes.
Good to be on with you, Sir Cliff.
Good. And that word old days. Yes. Let me draw on that for what we call in the trade a segue, because the Special Select Committee of the Senate tasked with crafting an elderly care and protection law has tabled its report. The private member's motion was brought forward by opposition Senator Professor Floyd Morris.
After months of in-depth deliberations, listeners and viewers, and consultations as well, the report was tabled on Friday, marking the conclusion of the committee's examinations. The proposed act is aimed at safeguarding the rights of older persons in Jamaica.
Well, the proposed law, as you say, is aimed at that, but it follows a series of 16 meetings beginning December 2024. Several stakeholders made submissions, including the National Council for Senior Citizens, the Caribbean Community of Retired Persons, and the Ministry of Health and Wellness. The report includes recommendations that the rights of older persons be enshrined in law.
Significant point there. It also recommends the Office of an Elder Care Advocate to be established to intervene in matters affecting older persons. And of course, listeners and viewers, you might recall that we have the Office of a Children's Advocate mirroring that office there. A definition for elder abuse to include physical, sexual, emotional, and financial abuse, as well as abandonment, is also being proposed. Now, the report similarly calls for a tribunal to be established with the power to adjudicate in matters of breaches of the proposed act.
And Tyrone, it says also that it is strongly recommending that people like you and I should be referred to as older persons. Yeah? Going forward, older persons. We're not to be abused, by saying, go here, owl. Yeah? You know that
older persons,
but older persons, and that there should be a national education, public awareness campaign to get Jamaicans to drop the ageism that we have indulged in for far too long. You hear that, Bogues? Okay.
And culturally, hopefully, when we get to our guest, it's one of the things we'll try to put to her. How do we get that cultural shift, Sir Cliff? That's going to be significant. The passage of the law won't accomplish that. We will have to do some heavy lifting outside of Parliament.
Exactly. And we are being joined now by the chair of the committee, Senator Shireen Golding Campbell. Good afternoon, Senator.
Good afternoon. Top of the afternoon to you, Senator. Welcome.
And good afternoon to you, Tyrone. So if I saw what you did there, I don't even think Tyrone caught it. You just included him.
Yes, I did.
I'm not fighting it. I accept the designation.
Well, let us start there, because I think it marks a key appreciation of part of the problems we have had in Jamaica, where this business of aging is concerned, where we denigrate the old, the elderly, and with it, we also abuse them physically, emotionally, and otherwise, don't we?
Yes. Certainly, Cliff, that's one of the things that came to us in the submissions that were delivered to the committee. We were given an awareness of not just the types of abuse that are meted out to older persons, but some semblance of the level. But bear in mind that those figures, the figures that we were given and the figures that were quoted are probably woefully underreported figures, because abuse is not something older persons tend to report. So it's a bit like the issue of child abuse and sexual offences in relation to children. I recall in 2008 when that bill was being passed, that one of the concerns we had was whether or not people would actually report these cases to the authorities. And that's the same phenomenon that I think we have to confront with older persons.
Yeah. It's 20 minutes to 6 o'clock. We're speaking with Senator Shireen Goulding Campbell, the committee chair of the Special Select Committee, to craft what they're calling a comprehensive law on the elderly and the aging population in Jamaica in several respects. Let's go to the recommendations, Senator Goulding. And the first one, you begin with financial inclusion and economic empowerment. What's a major recommendation there?
Steve, I know you want to take me to the recommendations, but can I make one comment about the process before you take me into the substance of
Sure.
what we have delivered?
Sure, go ahead.
Because this committee began in December of 2024, and we wrapped up on Friday. We actually we had a meeting to approve the report. And what we have delivered as a committee is not just the ordinary parliamentary committee report that lays out the recommendations and gives you some amount of detail and information about our deliberations. But we've actually also tabled what we have called in the committee a roadmap document, a document that will allow the work of this committee to be taken to the next step, so that rather than have to reinvent the wheel in another place, any gaps that are there can be quickly filled and drafting instructions can be prepared, because the bulk of the work, the research, the inquiry has been done. And I want to make that point because it speaks to the efficiency of the system and how we serve the people in terms of, having different segments of government sometimes reinvent the wheel. So having said that, the committee received a number of recommendations in relation to financial inclusion, and one of those was the question of how our older persons are treated by the banking system, and it was things as basic as provision of facilities for older persons when they go into banks. For many of them, we were told it's a social outing almost. And they go there and they're there for quite some time. So recommendations dealing with financial abuse and being taken advantage of by caregivers and family members and persons in the community who they entrusted to assist them to manage their affairs. So there were a number of testimonies about older persons who had property, and because they trusted the wrong person, it could be a family member, it could not be a family member, somehow or other documents were produced, signatures, they signed documents, maybe not knowing what they were signing, and they were divested of their property. the funds from their accounts were seized, things like that. And they often have no recourse, and they often don't tell anybody.
Tyrone?
Yeah. I think we're almost up on the break.
Yeah.
But when we come back, there are a couple of things I'd like to bowl to you, Madam Senator. One of the issues being, when this finally becomes law, it will go a far way in terms of getting the conversation started, setting a framework. But the cultural issues can't necessarily be addressed in Parliament. We want to talk about what's needed to shift the approach and the attitudes culturally. And also I have a question that I want to put to you about, how people are treated when they are institutionalized into like the homes and so on. I want to talk about that when we come back. But we're up on the break. So let's take the break and then we come back with more from Senator Shereen Guldenkamp.
Clear your barrels and personal shipments with ease and convenience. Request a customs contactless clearance today through CCP at jca.gov.jm. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is
5:45.
Burn Shack fried chicken always ready. Burn Shack, original crispy. Burn Shack, Cajun spicy. Burn Shack, a barbecue. Burn Shack, we are go a Burn Shack.
The temperature brought to you by Bird Shack Fried Chicken in Kingston, Montego Bay, and Ochivios is
32 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 29 in Montego Bay, and 28 in Mandeville.
Since 1995, we've been your go-to source for everything related to billiards, amusement machines, and electronics. With locations at 1A Lindsay Terrace, Kingston 10, and the Village Plaza, Big Bridge, Savannah Lamar, we offer top-quality pool table parts and accessories, cutting-edge gaming machines, and more. We also specialize in assembly, sales, and service of amusement machines. We provide unmatched customer service, expert solutions, and products tailored to your needs. Who are we? We are Eclipse Enterprise. Telephone 876-960-3891.
Enough power tool, big to small. Chaka my figure dig the wall.
Our Total Tools.
Beat back a figure trim the lawn. We have everything a job demand.
Total Tools. We rent them, sell them and fix them. Also give Total Tools a call. When I say home improvement, landscape construction, a Total Tools are your option. Home improvement, landscape construction, Total Tools are your option.
Total Tools located at 102 Main Street, Ocho Rios, 34 Slibe Road, Kingston. And lot C6 Jackson, Sentence Bay. Call us today.
50 years of dreams. 50 years of finger-licking good memories, yeah.
Thank you, Jamaica, for 50 years of finger-licking good memories. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Minutes going up to 6 o'clock. We're looking at the report from the Special Select Committee of the Senate on crafting a comprehensive law to take care of our elderly. And some of the statistics in the report, 13.9%, almost 14% of the Jamaican population will be sooner rather than later be described as older persons. Based on the 2021 Economic and Social Survey, 13.9% of the population was 60 years and older, with women representing the majority, 52.5%. The 2011 population census recorded 306,401 persons aged 60 and above, while more recent projections from the Mona Aging and Wellness Center place the current estimate closer to 400,000. with a projected increase to 500,000 in the near future. The fastest growing segment are those aged 80 and over. Tyrone.
An aging population, and the data definitely demonstrates that, which really makes the point, Sir Cliff and Senator Golding Campbell, that we need to change the cultural approach to how we treat with our elderly? How do we, the legislation is a good foundation, a good framework to do that, but what else will be needed after the passage of this legislation? As a legislator, have you given much thought to that as yet?
Oh, that is a concept, an issue that I grapple with all the time. And it's not just in relation to older persons, but, you know, when you move about the society, when you see how we respond to each other, when you see the things that we speak from our own mouth into the public domain sometimes, you wonder if we don't need a whole comprehensive public education campaign that takes us back to some of the principles and the values that certainly in my grandparents' generation, I think, is a generation I can think that most demonstrated those kinds of principles and values. You know, this is you're right, not just a legislative approach. It has to be a comprehensive approach dealing with not just law, but also sensitizing persons to how you deal with older persons. How do we provide for them in the society? What are the accommodations we make for older persons, many of whom may have physical disabilities or even mental disabilities?
Mm-hmm.
It's a problem that I don't have an answer to, is really the short answer. But we start with at least a law that recognizes their importance, that recognizes their contribution, and that recognizes that even while they are aging, they are still valuable members of the society and they're still able to contribute. We've asked earlier about financial inclusion, and that's one of the areas that that you can make practical steps towards including them in the society.
Cliff, if you'd allow me just this follow-up. One of the reasons I was asking the question, Madam Senator, is so we very often wait until the end of the process, then we start to sensitize individuals in terms of the public education campaign to change minds and to change thinking. But as we are working on this, shouldn't that effort get underway even as we're working on the legislative process? And once that is finalized and the bill is passed, then we can tweak an already running campaign to say, look, this is what the new law says going forward. Shouldn't it accompany what we're attempting to do now?
And usually I think that is how it happens, because remember, most of the time these kinds of policy initiatives come from the ministry responsible, and they may produce a green paper or white paper or a bill that they then send to the parliament. This process came out of a private member's motion tabled by Senator Floyd Morris, and so it didn't come from the arm of government that deals with policy. But of course, policy is something that we had to consider in crafting what was the scope and the magnitude of the legislation, what was the appropriate scope and magnitude of the legislation. In fact, we had discussed in committee having town hall meetings to hear from the older persons in various communities more directly, as opposed to hearing through representative bodies. But unfortunately, time did not allow, and with the season impending, one of the things as chair I wanted to ensure was that we delivered a report that could be used, that is useful, and that all the work didn't go for naught, because of course if Parliament were to dissolve and we had produced nothing, that really would be the end of the committee, and it would be a shame for all that amount of time and work that was put into it.
Senator, the issue of that public awareness and rights education, reading from your report, it speaks of a national education campaign, yes, to combat the ageism that we've been talking about. And it is also recommended, quote, that the government pursue a coordinated multi-channel public awareness initiative aimed at educating the general population on recognizing and reporting abuse of older persons, the importance of intergenerational respect, and the evolving role of older persons in modern society. This initiative should also include targeted professional development for public servants who interact regularly with older persons such as healthcare providers, law enforcement officers, and social workers. This is pretty much on target in specifying what needs to be done in that campaign.
Yeah, yeah. Which is what I said, Kate. I mean, we heard submissions from experts. We heard from Prof. Eldemaya Shearer at Mona Aging and Wellness, people like Ms. Sandra Latibodere, who have been studying and producing academic documents in this area for a long time. You know, we also heard from the ministries and departments who deal with issues that touch and concern older persons. So it's pretty comprehensive, the information we got. We were also very well supported by the Legal Reform Department that did a lot of background research for us. So the information is here. And bear in mind, you know, this committee didn't start this work. People like Prof. Shearer have been working in this area for decades, have been representing Jamaicans at international conferences and international bodies for a long, long time. So that this has come now is really long after a lot of work has already put in.
Yes.
So to that end, what we really did as a committee was to sit through it and collate it, and then to look at it and say, okay, are there any gaps that we should be including, given this is now 2025? And we did that and produced what we, like I said, consider the roadmap.
Just allow me here, Tyrone. One other recommendation that I found very, very thoughtful. Yes.
Are you looking at the parliamentary committee report now, or the roadmap document?
I'm looking at roadmap for legislation and the care, protection, and inclusion.
Right.
And it says here on page 33. Many of the older persons reside in homes that are physically unsuitable for aging. They often lack basic safety adaptations. As a matter of national policy, the government may consider among its social housing projects a home retrofitting program to subsidize structural modifications such as grab bars, ramps, widened doorways, and non-slip flooring to non-contributors of the NHT. By promoting safe and accessible living environments, this measure would significantly support older persons' right to age with their dignity in their own homes. Such a policy would also lessen the pressure on long-term care institutions and the public health system. Excellent
Absolutely.
idea.
Excellent suggestion there, yes.
Yeah.
And one of the things with that clip was that what we discovered was that, you know, well, we were told that the NHT has provisions for people who have been contributors, but for those who have not been contributors, they don't have any pathway to accessing these kinds of funds, and quite often all they have is the asset, their home, and so. In that discussion, too, came the discussion about reverse mortgages and how older persons could extract from the value of their home funding to take them through to their end of life period, and still live in their home. And we were told, in fact, that one of the banks, I think it was Jamaica National, had such a program some time ago, but that it was discontinued.
Good.
On page 35, and we're quickly running out of time, Madam Senator, looking at the section dealing with the proposed scope of the bill, it says the legislation for the care and protection of older persons should apply to a broad array of individuals, services, and institutional arrangements that affect the lives and well-being of persons aged 60 and over. And it says the bill should, and if I could jump down to about point 3, apply to care facilities, day centers, centers, nursing homes, assisted living institutions, and long-term care arrangements. Regulate both registered and unregistered caregivers, including family members, private providers, and contracted service professionals. Very, very, very critical. The glare of public scrutiny is not always inside these care facilities, so a lot of abuse goes on undetected. In my earlier...
There's a problem, Tyrone, because much of the care facilities, in fact, the vast majority of them are not registered under the Nursing Homes Registration Act. So, those that are registered, that are known to the Ministry of Health, who monitors it, is something in the region of, I think, about 30 or 40 of them. And there are more than 100 more across the island that are not registered. But if I know you're wrapping up, guys.
Yes.
But if I were to say, what are the 5 things that really are the big ticket items in our recommendations? The first thing would be, of course, enshrining the rights of older persons in law. That's one big recommendation. And that's a fight that many of the persons in the area, working in the area, have been fighting for a long time. They convinced us, and we did so recommend. The other is this what Tyrone mentioned a while ago, with the system of registration and certification of caregivers, and ensuring that they had working standards in terms of how they cared for older persons and could be certified in doing that. The third is the older person's advocate, somebody who can champion and stand in representation for older persons when they have nobody else or they're afraid to reach out to somebody who has a monitoring capacity and an independent authority. And then the tribunal, a tribunal that can hear disputed cases of a non-criminal nature, that can act as a sort of mediator, arbitrator in matters concerning older persons. And perhaps the last of that would probably be, and I know this is not in any particular order, by the way, would be the question of the recommendations being made to banks to consider reduction in fees to older persons, to consider, the reverse mortgage protocol to allow them to access value and for their children to have the asset to pay back that mortgage even after they're gone. I would say those are some of the novel and those are the big change items in our recommendations.
Good work, Madam Chairman.
Indeed. This is a tree worth planting.
Yes. Senator Shireen Golding Campbell, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you, Jason.
Indeed.
Thank you.
Have a good one, Madam Senator.
So we're going to leave it inside the cover story. The headlines are next.
Cover Story was brought to you by
Multilink. Roll with control. Use Multilink. Safe, fast, and accepted in more locations.
The time brought to you by Guardian Life. Live secure, live easy is
2 minutes after 6.
Nationwide headlines at 6.
Good evening with the headlines at 6. I'm Nora Gay Banton. A search operation is still underway for 3 fishermen who have been missing at sea since Friday, June 27. According to reports, the 3 men left the Marine Police Division station at the Kingston waterfront around 4:30 a.m. on Friday to go fishing. Their boat, which is usually docked near the station, has not returned. The missing fishermen have been identified as 71-year-old Leston Duncan Sr., also known as Fat Jaw, his 29-year-old son Leston Duncan Jr., known as Tat, and their 24-year-old cousin Kemarley Nelson, who goes by the nickname Quick.
Duncan Sr.'s daughter, Simone Duffus, says the family grew concerned when the men failed to return at their usual time.
Upon realizing in the evening that the boat was being seen at the usual parking area, when the boat was seen, my stepmother was contacted asking if he was there. So based on that, we become suspicious because my dad would normally come in by between anytime 1:30 to 4 o'clock, and because of not seeing him, we alert the Marine Police and a search was conducted. It's still being conducted. So we're just here hoping, praying that we get some news, something to say if they are either drift to somewhere else from their normal place that they normally fishing. We just want them home.
She described her father as a seasoned fisherman with decades of experience. She says this was the first time her cousin Kemarli had gone out to sea to fish.
He's always talking that he wants to go to fishing, and he took the opportunity for the first time and went along with my father, my brother, who is a regular fisherman. My father's been doing fishing from age 9, so over the period of years, now he's 71, so he can check the years. Most people know him across this section. Some know him back in Old Harbour.
Duffus said her father would typically fish in the Hellshire and Rift Creek areas. The driver of a Toyota Mark X has been charged after an accident that saw a bus overturn on the Mandela Highway on Monday morning. Head of the Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch, PSTEB, ACP Dr. Gary McKenzie, told Nationwide News that the accident occurred after the driver of the Toyota Mark X suffered a puncture while traveling near the bus.
About 7:30 today, a bus was traveling along Nelson Mandela Highway headed into Kingston. Based on what we have gathered, it was traveling in the left lane. There was a Mark X motor car in the immediate lane to its right, which is the middle lane. The vehicle became punctured. That is the Toyota Mark X motor car, and the driver, without paying proper attention, abruptly went to his left into the path of the bus. As a result of that, a contact was made with both vehicles. The bus was displaced further left, collided with the rail, and overturned.
ACP McKenzie says some passengers on the bus were taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries.
There were about 40 persons on the bus at the time. The police responded and they were assisted to the hospital. The injuries are not very serious. Some injuries more serious than others, but all persons, I am happy to say, are stable and are being treated at the hospital. Some of them have left. There are a few that are still being treated. The driver of the Toyota Mark X motor vehicle have been charged for driving dangerously, and so we await the outcome of that.
ACP Dr. Gary McKenzie, head of PSTEB. And Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton is rejecting calls from the opposition PNP to resign over the recent deaths of 24 premature babies at Victoria Jubilee Hospital. News of the babies' death came last week. Dr. Tufton says the governing JLP will not mirror the mistakes of the opposition during their time in power in 2015.
The PNP has a theory about call for resignation and start comparing what happened in 2015 with what has transpired here in 2025. Their comparison with 2015 when they were there is a wrong comparison. None of us on our side has ever made a statement about babies not being babies in the real sense. In fact, we have learned from their mistake, from the errors of their ways, and they seem to be still haunted by the nightmares of 2015. We're not going to go down that road. We empathize and we must give support to those who are going through the trauma of the experience of premature risks and premature deaths.
The 24 babies all died at the hospital in June. Following the reports, the Southeast Regional Health Authority, SARA, clarified that most of the babies were born prematurely and were already at risk of serious illness. SARA explained that the babies had low birth weight and were born too early, making them more vulnerable. And Chief Medical Officer Dr. Jacqueline Bisesa McKenzie has also noted that there is no infection outbreak at the hospital, but the opposition has rejected findings by SARA. Opposition leader Mark Golding and his spokesman on health, Dr. Alfred Dawes, have voiced their concerns on what they consider systemic failures in the hospital's neonatal care. But Dr. Tufton says the country's neonatal system has seen significant improvement since the government took office in 2016.
The system that we have been working to build back, having succeeded them in 2016, is aimed at addressing these risks. And we have systems when these risks occur, intervene to cauterize and hopefully try to eliminate. This government has spent nearly $4 billion on primary health care renewal, building out health centers since 2016.
Dr. Christopher Tufton, Health and Wellness Minister. Those were the headlines at 6. I'm Nora Gay Banton. Sports is next.
Residents of Portmore, you spoke and we listened. JPS is returning to the Sunshine City. Starting July 2025, you'll be able to visit the My JPS Care Hub inside Fontana Portmore. Get answers to queries related to billing, payment, prepaid electricity, service requests, and more. Our agents will be on the ground to ensure you are in and out in no time. Look out for the My JPS Care Hub in Fontana Portmore, coming this July. JPS, powering what matters.
You have to win? Then just bet. Bet on the game, no stress, no sweat. And win big in the Wanna Bet Just Bet promotion. Spend $1,500 or more on one Just Bet ticket and complete the entry form at promotions.supremegames.com for your chance to win. Third place gets Beats by Dre. Second place gets an iPhone 15 and AirPods Pro. And first place gets a 65-inch TV and a soundbar. Promotion runs May 16 to July 20, 2025. Grand draw July 25, 2025. Authorized under Section 58. Of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act.
We have, as a people, been fed a steady diet of information, oftentimes untrue, that nothing nah go on. This is probably the first government that almost every single day of the week could have a groundbreaking, a handing over, a contract signing, a commissioning, because enough things are going on in Jamaica under the Andrew Holness-led government. Enough things. So when they come to you with the negativity about nothing nah go on, you may not see what is happening. So when you see groundbreaking, we have been working 2 years, 3 years before bringing it through a process, and we have all kinds of projects, not in a pipeline. Our projects are on a track, so we have a train line of projects to come.
This message is brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
50 years of dreams, 50 years of finger-licking good memories, yeah.
Thank you, Jamaica, for 50 years of finger-licking good memories. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Spring into style with Unique Living. Upgrade your home with our extensive range of products. Get sleek shower panels, stylish vanities, LED and non-LED mirrors, plus kitchen sinks, closet solutions, ceiling fans, and more. Available in various finishes and sizes. Visit shop number 6, 30 Dunrobin Avenue, Kingston 10. Call 876-755-3661 or visit our website at www.uniquelivingja.com. Don't wait to spring into style with Unique Living.
Hello, good evening and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. Veteran cricket commentator Joseph Reds Pereira says he would make several changes to the West Indies 11 for the second test against Australia. The Windies are set to face the tourists in hopefully a series levelling test at the National Cricket Stadium in Grenada starting on July 3. And Pereira says Jamaican John Campbell would be one of the players he would drop from the starting side.
Sharma Joseph. Key to the attack players, certainly think they will give Braffett his 100th test match in Grenada and his opening partner will in fact be king who gets his second test match. As far as Hope is concerned, I would love him to play as a batsman, focus on his batting, and Imlach comes in to take the gloves and lengthen the batting. My 11 will not include Warrican or John Campbell. Warrican only bowled 5 overs in Kensington, and I think it's a reflection that Chase didn't have any confidence in him, and he's not going to get a Turner in St. George's.
Joseph Reds Pereira. Multiple World and Olympic Games champion Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce says she is happy to be heading back to the scene of her first senior global championship to bring the curtain down on her amazing 18-year career. Fraser-Pryce, who will be 39 years old in December, qualified on Friday at the National Stadium to represent the country at one last global championships, the World Outdoors, in Tokyo, Japan in September. The third place finish in the 100 meters means that Fraser-Pryce booked her spot alongside Shericka Jackson and Tina Clayton. 17 years ago, the then little-known Fraser-Pryce was part of the Jamaica squad, which took part in the World Championships in Osaka, Japan. She was a part of the relay pool. The following year, 2008, was her breakout. She went on to win Olympic gold in Beijing before going on to become arguably the greatest female sprinter of all times. But Japan is where it all started, and there's where it will end.
Closing out a national championship is wonderful. I have to give God thanks for tonight. Only Him could have done this tonight. And I'm excited. I came out here. One thing I knew I had on my side was experience. And I know it's never over until it's over. And I'm grateful for that fighting spirit and that spirit that says, once I step to the line, I'm ready to go. So, for me, I'm just excited to be on another team and look forward to going to Tokyo. I mean, a lot of persons wouldn't have known, but Japan is where I actually started my first senior championship. So it's such a full circle moment to go back to Japan. And I'm just really excited, grateful, going back to put the race together. And we just hope for the best.
That's Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce. Jamaican international Demarai Gray is heading back to the English Premier League, into the Premier League in England. Gray will move back to his boyhood club Birmingham City pending a medical after agreeing to leave Saudi Arabian outfit Al Ettifaq after 2 years there. Gray rose to footballing prominence after breaking through at Birmingham, scoring a hat-trick in the championship against Reading in his first full senior season, in which he also scooped the Blues Young Player of the Year award for 2014-15. Having one of the championship's best centre-forwards to play in tandem with will be a massive benefit to Gray and could help him quell those reservations about his signing while firing Birmingham to a top 6 place come next season. Coach of Jamaica's senior women's football team, Hubert Busby, believes there's a silver lining despite their 7-0 thrashing against England at the King Power Stadium on Sunday. The Lionesses were dominant against the underpowered Reggae Girls team. Ella Toon scored twice. There were other goals from Lucy Bronze, Georgia Stanway, Alicia Rousseau, Egypt Bivaro-Jones, and Beth Mead. The hosts dominated all the statistics. They got 33 shots with 17 on targets. The Reggae Girls failed to trouble England. Not once they got a shot on goal. Busby says there were several positives, though, to take from the game.
The positives are, we've got a lot of young players getting valuable minutes. Another strong performance by Leah Brooks in goal. And then just a lot of players who are, stepping up and, staking a claim to be in the squad. So, I think in terms of transition, we were better at moments. I do think, one of the things we wanted to do or improve on was our set plays, and I think those improved. It's unfortunate, the goal being disallowed. I think that's momentum shift and changer in the game, because especially like that, goals change games. And I think, upon review, I think it was quite harsh to take that away, but such is football.
And he says he was happy for the support from the diaspora.
What an amazing turnout of Jamaican diaspora, the Jamaicans just in general coming to the match. Even after the match, they stuck around to applaud the team, and they stuck around to meet the players after the game, and even driving away, they were absolutely fantastic. And so I really can't say enough about the fans and supporters who came out to cheer on that team. So may that continue.
Hubert Busby. Finally, in sports at this time, Jamaica Gymnastics 7-member team, level 6 and 8, returned to the island on Monday after competing in the Estrella Gymnastics competition in Costa Rica. The lone level 8 competitor, Natasha Prehay, and level 7, Micah McIntyre, won all-round gold for Team Jamaica. Prehay, the journey to the goal was not easy.
I feel so proud and excited to have won the gold medal and placed first all around. This moment means so much to me. It wasn't easy. There were lots of hard work, long hours, and determination, but it all paid off. I am so happy to be able to represent my country here in Costa Rica.
Natasha Prehay. Meanwhile, Gianna Ashman, competing in the level 6, finished the second and third, went to Elisa Ennis. The tournament was part of the team's preparation for the Central American Championships, which will be held in Costa Rica in September. The Jamaicans were sponsored by Porceramica in Costa Rica. McIntyre was grateful for the support from the sponsors.
I am very proud and happy to win the gold medal at this competition. I want to thank our sponsors, Pour Ceramic, for sponsoring us to come to this country to represent our country.
That's Mika McIntyre. And that's sports.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612-5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is
6:20.
Stay cool and save energy with the perfect ceiling fan for every room at prices you'll love. At Active Home Center, we've got fans to fit every space and every budget. From affordable options to premium designs with energy-efficient DC motors. Whether it's your bedroom, living room, or patio, there's a fan for every corner of your home. Hurry in for deep discounts on select fans while stocks last. Shop fans at Active Home Center in Kingston and Montego Bay. Active Home Center, more savings, more choices.
Make a toast to your future. The JTA Cooperative Credit Union is by your side. All educators, the best is what you deserve.
We'll keep your dreams alive.
Competitive loans to help you grow.
We'll take you higher.
Great returns on your savings. A bright future is in the making.
Build the best you with the best credit union. We are committed to serving you.
JTA Cooperative Credit Union, serving our members, impacting lives positively.
50 years of dreams. 50 years of finger-licking good memories, yeah.
Thank you, Jamaica, for 50 years of finger-licking good memories. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Want to reduce your high electricity bills? Then Peak Energy has the solution for you. From grid tied to hybrid solar inverters with full lithium-ion battery pack. Installation and maintenance packages available. Visit us at Shop 1, 3 Mosquito Valley Road, Red Hill, St. Andrew. Call 876-279-8820 or 944-0668. Or email us at peakenergysolutionsja@gmail.com. Peak Energy for everything solar.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Good evening, and welcome to Public Opinion. I'm Robianne Williams. It's a new week, and we welcome it with open arms. It's the last day in June 2025, a day that we will never see again. Yeah? A special good evening to our friends on our YouTube platform. We invite you to weigh in live in the comments section on today's Public Opinion. And of course, you must have an opinion. Yeah? So, Member of Parliament for Southwest St. Catherine Everald Warmington has withdrawn and apologized for using expletives on a political platform in Westmoreland on Sunday. Now, Warmington used inappropriate and offensive remarks as he urged JLP supporters in Westmoreland Central on Sunday, to vote, even if they are dissatisfied with their MP.
You may not like him, Member of Parliament. You don't want him. Maybe an apple. But maybe him better than PMP apple. Yes. So work with him. If you think you'll vote with George Wright, When the behind the screen, close your eyes. We're not using language just now. We're using your eyes. And say, me a vote for Julius. Now just right. Don't stay home. Vote for your party. Put the X beside the bell. Put it beside the bell.
In a statement on Monday accompanied by an 11-second audio clip, Warmington apologized.
I recognize that my comments on the platform yesterday were inappropriate, and I regret offending anyone with the comments I made. So I do withdraw them and apologize.
Member of Parliament was for Southwest St. Catherine, that was Everald Warmington. So in public opinion this evening, we're asking you, the viewers, the electors, what punishment, if any, should Everald Warmington face for using expletives on the political platform? What punishment, if any, should Everald Warmington face for using expletives on the political platform? The opposition, the General Secretary of the Opposition, People's National Party, has also called for criminal charges to be laid against Mr. Warmington. So, to you, we ask, what punishment, if any, should Everald Warmington face for using expletives on a political platform? I'll turn my attention to our Facebook comments, where Carlington Bailey, I should say Bartley, saying he's not in the cabinet, so there's no calling for him to step down. What we're left with is membership of the JLP and member of parliament. This is a classic case of much ado about nothing. Nellie Walters is saying freedom of speech. Yeah, freedom of speech. Frassout is saying, okay, that's unrelated. The law must take its course. Yeah, the law must take its course, says Alvin Thomas. Arlene Kelly is saying much ado about nothing, and she rolls her eyes with an emoji. Wesley Cunningham is saying at least he apologized for the first time, so we can forgive him. Yeah. Kimberly is asking if we can have this law removed so it doesn't have to be a topic of discussion. I think you're referring to the offense against a person's acts. The profanity law there. Lindsay McIntosh says, why are people calling these words bad words when in other countries people use them for everything and it's like drinking coffee or tea? Smiley Lindburn and Edney Powell says none. He should face no punishment at all. Beva Baker also says none. Cheryl Griffiths is questioning what punishment did Mark Golding get for putting shackles over. Wow, okay. Simone is saying that the expletive is an action word. Okay, all right. President Trump said it a couple times last week. I'm not worried about expletives. I'm more worried about pedophiles running around pretending to be great citizens. Christine is questioning sanction him how? He's not a cabinet minister or a cabinet member, says Christine Reed. Unel Allen is saying the amount of lies the opposition tell in and out of parliament on the government, I don't know who wouldn't cuss expletives. All right. Judith Thorpe said punishment, troops. Leave Wame alone, just a product of his culture. You hear expletives morning, noon and night in songs playing all around the country. Who was there hearing it for the first time? Show hands. Yeah. Wow. Most of these comments is asking punishment for what? Absolutely nothing. Lashing, says Ann Jackson. Yeah. Claudia is saying, while Trump repeated that same word, I don't hear much about the SYM conference or let's get wicked upon them. Did he incite violence? Mute him for 10 days, says Doreen Lewis. All right. Audley Phillips says, though I do not like it, he's just a very colorful and flamboyant individual who must always punctuate his rhetoric with splashy and glamorous adjectives. It's a part of his DNA. He will not change tomorrow. His apology was just a forced one, but after the cooling off period, he would do it again. Yeah. Nicola said, Wami, you have to behave. Telling lies and using curse word, which is more harmful, asking Donovan Ewart. All right, let me see if I can get in some more on our X platform. Dear Moore says, I do appreciate the fact that he apologized, but I think he should be charged for profanity by the police under Section NC of the Towns and Communities Act for the use of profane, indecent, or obscene language in public. And Don Messi is asking, punishment for what? Godman said, with a focus on important matters, ignore Warmington. Eventually, he will see the need to behave like a decent human being. Yeah? Much ado about nothing, says Sweet Music Man. And we're not going back. So for Lego the Man shirt, Lego FM shirt, Tia Davis, he apologized. Yeah? As long as the utterances don't cause any harm, probably the man was having a few shots earlier, so the effects reached the podium. What punishment, if any, should Everald Warmington face for using expletives on the political platform, on our Instagram platform? Let's see. One Empress says, whatever the monetary fine is for use of indecent language. And I hasten to go to something that one of my colleagues pointed out earlier, right? An entertainer in 2008 was fined $70. Yeah, $70 for the use of profanity at a recent show. And my colleague was pointing it out to me to say that most of the time is the judge's discretion based on what is there. You know, it varies. The fine varies. So an entertainer, won't call the name, an entertainer was charged and was fined $70 Jamaican for the use of profanity at a show. So yeah, Empress is saying whatever the monetary fine is, it doesn't really seem that much. Robert Gregory Lewis is saying that Everald Warmington is who he is and he will not change. So just leave him alone because Southwest St. Catherine loves him. Unorthodox says none. The man has the decency to offer an apology. York Rich, I want to hear why the JCF arrests some for expletives and not others. That's the important question. You'll know better. You play these wrong and make no difference. Okay, I don't understand that. Remove him from all committees and be charged by the police for use of indecent language, says Willie Ryan Wilson. Yeah? None. An apology would be nice. He did apologize. Coming from Sophia. Let me see if I can get to the comments on our YouTube platform. What punishment, if any, should Everald Warmington face for using expletives? Please, may I beg to be kind. And you know, temper your comments on YouTube, I beg of you. One Warmington says Betsy Powell. All right, let me see if I can get in a few more. Tell the people them down at Westmoreland for watch them. Okay, Jeffrey. You know, some of these comments can be so very inappropriate. I'm looking for sieving through to see the best ones. Chief of Staff saying, at this point in time, why are we even talking about this? All who felt offended, show hands. The horns roared louder, didn't they? He should get a serious reprimand from the PM that it never happened again. Since he apologized, there are many others who commit egregious things and don't apologize, says Neville. Yeah? The police always looking for musicians. Why not Warmington, says Jamaica Undiluted Truth Channel. If it had video evidence, police do your job. McHugh, I believe that there are videos circulating, a specific video circulating on social media. Yeah? Of what was said. What indecent language? That's colonial law, says Ian. Omar says, one Wami, what did he do wrong? Okay, one Warmington coming from Andrew Last. I'm sieving through to see the appropriate ones, people. So please don't come at me. Who done it says nobody cussed more bad words than yes. Okay, but most were done in private. Well, it's better private than public. Yeah. What is indecent about that? Glenry Clayton is asking. Bally believes he should get no punishment. So too does Jasper Rodney. He should have never apologized, says Omar. Davian Paddy. That law should be removed from our law book. Very outdated. Even police are cuss word no. Yeah. All right. restrict from public speaking for a while, says Dennis Barnaby. Yeah, well, let's see if any at all. Thank you so much for participating in Public Opinion. The Business Report is up next.
Public Opinion was brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today.
The time by KIG is
6:34. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Nationwide's Business Report. I'm Robianne Williams. On June 24, 2025, the Jamaica Stock Exchange, JSE, welcomed Barita Investments Limited to the exchange as it listed 7 tranches of bonds on the JSE's bond market. Now, these senior unsecured fixed-rate bonds of Barita Investments Limited were published on March 19, 2025, with the offers opening on March 28 and closed on May 26. The company raised $20 million and approximately 3.74 billion Jamaican dollars for a total of $7.94 billion from the offer, making it collectively, according to the JSE, the largest offer raised for 2025 and the largest total IPO bond offer. Including the 7 bonds, the number of securities listed on the JSE's bond market increased to 16. The listing of the 7 tranches increased the total new securities listed for the year to 14 new listings compared to the JSE's budget of 15 new listings for the year. Further afield, the U.S. Senate has begun a marathon vote on a sprawling budget that is critical to President Donald Trump's agenda. But the spending plan is hanging in the balance after weeks of fraught negotiations. Republicans, who control both the chambers of Congress, are divided over how much to cut welfare programs in order to extend tax breaks in the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. The president's party is sprinting to pass the legislation by this week's self-imposed deadline of the 4th of July, the public holiday. If the measure does clear the Senate, it will have to go back for another vote to the House of Representatives, which passed its own version of the bill last month by a single vote. And finally, in the currency markets at the close of trading today, it cost 160 Jamaican dollars and 82 cents to buy $1 US dollar. It cost 219 Jamaican dollars and 78 cents to buy $1 British pound and 118 Jamaican dollars and 24 cents to buy the Canadian dollar. That's the Business Report. I'm Robianne Williams. Good evening.
50 years of dreams. 50 years of finger-licking good memories, yeah.
Thank you, Jamaica, for 50 years of finger-licking good memories. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
For over 30 years, Chris and Charles has been financing your goals, dreams, creating your great moments. Celebrate the occasion with us. Borrow $1 million, pay less than $25,000 monthly, and get 30% off your processing fees. No guarantor needed. Call 876-920-4189 or WhatsApp 876-838-9028. Conditions apply. When you think loans, think Chris and Charles.
We are the best at what we do. At Hose Assembly and Supply Limited, we supply hose, fittings, and tools. We guarantee we can't be beaten when price and quality are combined. You brand us the Hose and Tool Boss because we deliver the most effective industrial solutions. Come in and experience the joy of shopping with Hose Assembly and Supply Limited. Call us 876-923-3936 or visit 173 Hagley Park Road, 2 Charlesworth Crescent, or Montego Bay Trade Center. Hose Assembly and Supply Limited. More than just hoses. Now open every Sunday.
You want to win? Then just bet. Bet on the game, no stress, no sweat. And win big in the Wanna Bet Just Bet promotion. Spend $1,500 or more on one Just Bet ticket and complete the entry form at promotions.supremegames.com for your chance to win. Third place gets Beats by Dre. Second place gets an iPhone 15 and AirPods Pro. And first place gets a 65-inch TV and a soundbar. Promotion runs May 16 to July 20, 2025. Grand draw July 25, 2025. Authorized under Section 58. Of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act.
Nago Head St. Catherine, Greenleaf Medical and Diagnostics has opened its door at 55 Newland Road to assist you with all your medical needs. Visit and get the services of a general practitioner, pediatrician, gynecologist, and surgeon. They also do all tests: ultrasound, pap smear, ECG, and diagnostic testing. Open Mondays to Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Telephone 876-740-1224. Greenleaf Medical and Diagnostics, your medical partner in Nago Head.
Looking for superior quality transportation from an international award-winning provider? Well, look no further. Choose Island Car Rentals, Jamaica's leading car rental company, setting the standard for ground transportation in Jamaica. For over 50 years, Island Car Rentals has been your trusted partner for reliable, top-quality vehicles. But we're more than just a car rental company. Need an airport transfer at any hour? Heading out of town and want to travel in style with a private chauffeur? Need a truck to rent for business or personal use? Or maybe you need a customized shuttle or tour for a large or a small group. Whatever your transportation need, Island Car Rentals has you covered. Call us today at 876-926-8012 or 876-929-5875 or visit www.islandcarrentals.com to book your next trip. Because Island people take better care of you.
We can light up your world with the rays of the sun. Putting pure energy in the palm of your hand.
For over 20 years, Fosrich has been putting a world of energy in your hands. Now we bring you big savings with our line of solar energy products and LED lighting. Financing now available for all your home and commercial retrofit projects. Consult with our in-house staff or certified professional engineers for all your electrical needs. Fosrich Lifestyle. It's electric. Fosrich, your energy world.
Is your money idling when it could be thriving? With CIBC Caribbean's fixed deposit offering, you can take charge of your cash. With 50,000 Jamaican to start, choose terms from 30 days to 2 years. Lock in your funds and enjoy premium rates guaranteed to grow your wealth. Whether you're eyeing short or long-term gains, our fixed deposit account puts you firmly in control of your money. Now is the time to open a CIBC fixed deposit account and start earning more today. CIBC, ambitions made real.
Nationwide, 90 FM now presents a paid political broadcast of Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness's address at the JLP's Northeast Manchester Workers' Awards ceremony on Sunday, June 29, 2025. This is being brought to you by the Jamaica Labour Party.
Let me greet you. Let me greet you with the traditional greeting of the Jamaica Labour Party, which must be interpreted as a wish for blessings to be bestowed upon you and your household. And we say showers of blessings, Labourites, showers of blessings. Allow me to compliment you. You all look very good. And as we say in the Jamaican colloquialism, the energy turn up. You can understand that tonight is a very emotional night. I know as I observe the faces that there are those holding back the tears. There are those who understand the ecclesiastic nature of the moment. There is a time and place for everything. So first, let me acknowledge the work and contribution of a great Jamaican statesman, Audley Manayard Shaw. There are no greater compliments than compliments that are paid by former adversaries. As you will all recall, Audley and myself had a runoff. And Audley was a worthy opponent, a strong opponent. But Audley has a certain character about him, a certain spirit about him, a certain virtue about him, that no matter what, you have to love Manayard. An infectious smile, a quick wit, that heavy baritone voice that reverberates when he speaks, a sharp and incisive mind when he analyzes and goes for the jugular of issues. A caring man, a loving man, a giving man. And you, the people, would have confirmed this by electing him for 33 years as your representative. Audley is not out of the game. Audley will be here to give us his incredible knowledge and wisdom. He will be around for you, and he will be around for the young people to come in the party. I'm happy to have Audley still with us, supporting the efforts of the Jamaica Labour Party as we seek to continue our government for the people. Manayard had indicated for some time that he would not be going back. He told me this sometime in around 2018, but then he decided that he would go again. But then he finally told us last year. And I had to think very carefully about who would represent the constituency. You are a blessed constituency because you have good representatives at the parliamentary level and at the local government level. And at this juncture, I want to commend Omar Miller. Please stand, Omar. A man who has worked very hard, who is beloved by the people in his division and the constituency generally. And a man who demonstrated their highest principles and has given the ultimate sacrifice to ensure that the transition is one that is without any form of rupture in the constituency. And so I want to thank him personally and thank him publicly. Thank you, Omar.
Boss for every boss, done for every done.
For a moment, there were those who felt that the organization would not come together. But the Jamaica Labour Party is a democratic institution in every sense of the word. We had several meetings, we brought people in, we had discussions. I recall having a meeting at Christiana High School where people expressed their views to me and I expressed my views to them as well. But because we are a democracy, we take time to make sure that matters are genuinely settled. We don't believe in fallout and throw people out and push people out. No, the Labour Party is a totally transformed organization. And you will see that in the time we take and in the level of sophistication we employ in addressing these issues of transition, candidate selection, to make sure that we remain one family with one mission, which is to serve the Jamaican people and move our country from poverty to prosperity. That is the mission. We are building a political organization on which every Jamaican can find a place on our platform. And I believe we are showing the Jamaican people that we are the Democratic Party. We are the natural majority party for Jamaica. Now it is time to introduce to you your new candidate, a lady that has tremendous experience in business. The best way to describe her is not a businesswoman. She is an entrepreneur. She has formed new businesses. She has innovated in business, and she has been very successful in business. But she has also been an incredible servant of the people and of the state of Jamaica, serving as ambassador to the United States of America, not for one term, not for 2 terms. You ended on your 4th term. Very well respected globally. And when I tell you that, she is probably one of the few Jamaicans that can knock on the highest doors of power anywhere in the world, and that knock would be acknowledged and the door open. I have described her as a resourceful person, but she is also a very caring person. And you will notice that she didn't just come with her 2 long hand and say, well, this seat has been in the Labour Party column for a long time, and therefore I don't have to do any work. It will just automatically stay in the Labour Party column. No. She has taken the time to meet with you, the workers, hear your concerns, deal with it in detail and almost on an individual basis. And she has sought as much as she can to provide resources and to provide relief and to satisfy some of the things that you have asked for. Now, if that is not setting a good example of the type of representation that she will give, then I don't know. So when I see her being chastised for showing the good example of what a representative is, then what it tells me is that the other people don't know what good representation is. It tells me that the other people weren't doing anything. And as soon as they say Audrey who has been here for a couple days, start to do something, they try to tear it down. That is the sign of a bad mind. A good mind would say, I am happy for the people who are going to get the thanks. Let me try and get some thanks for my workers too. That is how a good mind thinks. But PNPism does not inure or cultivate good minds. It seems to support a bad way of thinking, a negative way of thinking, a tear-down way of thinking. It seems to say that if something is going well, we can't acknowledge it, we must tear it down. That is the hallmark of a bad mind. There is nothing wrong with giving the alternative view. There is nothing wrong with opposing. Opposition in democracy gives the balance and correction. But you can do it in a destructive way, or you can do it in a constructive way. What we have seen is destructive opposition born out of bad thinking. So, I don't think I need to reinforce that point. The point is well made. What we are seeing playing out is a destructive way of thinking to tear down people, deny anything that is good, and in order to get power, to destroy everything. That can't work. That can't work. And what that tells me is that I have to work even harder to ensure that the good things that we have built as a team, as a Jamaican family, that we don't leave it for others with a bad mind to come and tear down what we have sacrificed so hard and built for Jamaica. And that is why I believe that I have found a representative for you who can carry on the great work of Audley Shaw. Audley mentioned his passion for this scholarship program. I endorse it, and I've had discussions with Audrey, and she has told me that, Audley, your scholarship program was big, but Woman a Yard going to make the scholarship program even bigger. So I formally now present to you your candidate for the constituency of Northeast Manchester, Audrey Woman a Yard Mark. I ask you to pardon my efficient delivery, and I'm not spending too much time to allow the vuvuzelas and the celebrations, because we do have an awards segment which we will have to pursue. But I could not have this magnificent audience, this lovely audience. And this is how I would like to see our meetings conducted going forward. With our supporters seated, attention to the stage. Yes, there is some talking around, but it is going to stop when I continue my presentation. Because we have business to conduct. When you sit here, I might say we have close to 1,000 people here or more. I am not only talking to you, I have to talk to the entire Jamaica. Because you are already convinced of the work and worth of the party you support. But as you know, there are many other Jamaicans who are disconnected, who are sometimes jaded, cynical, disbelieving, and there are those who are independent thinking, who are watching and weighing us by our actions. Not just by my actions, but by your actions as well. Every word that we say is weighed. And so, as members of this great organization, and this is a message that I have given to all my platforms and everyone who speaks. Granted, there are some who are recalcitrant. I leave you to find the meaning of that word. But there are some who don't follow. But right now is a very serious time. And every word must be carefully chosen to convey the meaning, lest it be taken and twisted and used for negative and lies and all kinds of misdeeds. So tonight, having this great audience and having your attention, I want to tell you a very quick story. In 2011, the previous PNP administration bought a vehicle. They called the vehicle the Jamaica Emergency Employment Program. How many of you remember that vehicle? At that time, it was necessary to employ the Jeep, to buy it, because unemployment was over 13%. In fact, youth unemployment was as high as between 30 and 35%. But that Jeep did not have an engine. That Jeep, the tires were punctured. The doors were falling off. And so it didn't go very far. It didn't go very far. When we took over, in 2016, we set about fixing the engine of the Jeep. We reduced the oil pressure. We changed the tires. The radiator was overheating, causing whole heap of inflation and high debt. It had no brakes. Crime was running out of control. Every minute we have to carry it, go mechanic, and every time we go mechanic we have to pay, and that meant we had to do what? Put on more taxes on the people, almost $34 billion worth of taxes to repair the Jeep. We fixed the engine. We put in a proper gearbox. Fix the radiator. Make sure the oil pressure is stable. We don't have no leakage in the engine anymore. And you have a good driver. That driver carry you through COVID. That driver and that Jeep carry you through the massive economic fallout that took place with the disruption in the supply chain, the high inflation. It carry you through the war in the Ukraine. And then recently, it carry you through Hurricane Beryl. And all through that, nobody drop off of the Jeep. Not one public sector worker was laid off or their salary cut. Not one. Who won the champion? Andrew. More than that, we were able to give the largest care package in the history of Jamaica, where we actually supported persons in the private sector who lost income as a result of COVID. Never happened before. I can go through and tell you all the great things that we have done. Youth unemployment, we cut that in half. Youth unemployment is now about 14%. Unemployment moved from about 13%, is now 3.5%. The debt moved from about 130, is now 68%. You have 10 budgets of no net new taxes. We have managed to stabilize the exchange rate. Jamaica is probably the only country in this region that has a freely floating exchange rate. We have controlled inflation. I mean, the amount of things we have done. What is therefore the next destination? That the vehicle that we have fixed up and repaired, you can't call it a Jeep anymore because that the vehicle they know. That the vehicle they know is a Raptor. Because that vehicle is a strong vehicle. So what is the next destination? Having got the engine to work, and now the tires of expectation and ambition is now alive in the people. Now that they say that we can achieve things, the focus now for the large number of Jamaicans, water and roads. In other words, the electorate is very much concerned about the local issues that has been neglected for decades, and they want their government to focus on these local issues. And so tonight I want to say to you that one of the local issues that is of great concern to the people of Northeast Manchester, and in general for the parish of Manchester, is water. And I want to be clear when I speak of these issues, it is not now that the people of Manchester have been crying out for water. Not now. For a very long time, long before me, long before my government. Previous governments were not able to address it. But this government can. And this government will. Because this government has created the engine to generate the resources to, over time, and not a long time, address in an enduring and sustainable way the issues of water that would have affected you. Already we have started to upgrade the Moravia water treatment plant. Don't know how many of you know that one. We have started to upgrade the 2 Meetings water treatment plant. Both of these would account for an expenditure of 180 million Jamaican dollars, and this would include putting in and repairing the pumps. We have started to lay pipes to interconnect between Mile Gully and Christiana, and that is $80 million worth of pipe laying work which has started. And I want to bring you up to date that very soon, in a matter of weeks, we should be able to commission the Greater Mandeville water supply system, at least a portion of it, which is the largest expenditure on any water system in the parish of Manchester in the history of Jamaica, $4.5 billion of expenditure to do the Greater Mandeville water supply system. And of course, you know, this brings water from the plains of St. Elizabeth up Spur Tree and into Mandeville, and that will serve not just central Manchester, but it will help South Manchester and Northwest Manchester. And that's a very huge project. As a result of that, we have been getting many inquiries now about housing. So solving the water problem has also now solved the housing problem. So not only will the Greater Mandeville area have more reliable water, but now you're going to see a boom in housing construction, private housing construction taking place. But I have asked Minister Matthew Samuda to start work on what we are terming the Greater Manchester Water Supply Project, where once and for all, we will ensure that there is water in all the rural reaches of Manchester, so that everybody who lives in this parish will be able to have water in their homes. They can go in the shower and turn on the pipe and say, shower. And we decided that this is something that we have to do as part of our general rural development strategy. I will never forget campaigning in this constituency in the last local government election. And a lady, an elderly lady, saw us, and I was there campaigning to her. And she said, Prime Minister, I'm not really interested in anything you're saying, you know. All me want is the water. And she went through and explained how many years she has been living there, how difficult it has been. But the part that really got me is when she said, Prime Minister, I am almost 80 and I cannot carry water on my head anymore. So there is an urgency to this. But why hasn't it been done before? Listen, water fall from the sky, but the pipes don't fall from the sky. The pump don't fall from the sky. The well don't fall from the sky. You have to buy them. You have to have the resources to buy them. You have to fix the engine of the Jeep in order to be able to carry those things. Having fixed the engine of the vehicle of the economy, and we now have the resources, you can see where we have started to deal with the problem. It will take time, but it will also take creative thinking to think of the bigger projects that will give the solution sustainability and endurance over the long run, so that everyone at scale can get the benefit. And that is what this government is good at. This is what this government has excelled in taking on the big problems that you all think it couldn't solve. But this government take it on in a systematic, strategic, and smart way, and we solve them. They've never believed the debt could have gone down to 68% and heading down. We took it and we solved that. They've never believed that there could be a government that don't come to the people and say, hey, we have to tax you. We did that. And the big one, a lot of you here never believe that murders could go down as much as it has gone down. Well, your government, through strategic investment and strategic policies, we have brought down the murder rate significantly. This is the largest drop in the murder rate ever. And we didn't do it 1 year or 2 years. This is the third year. So if you are looking on for a reason to support and a reason to vote, well, this is the government that represents the substance of the things you hope for. The things you hope for, water and road and school and electricity and land titling, the substance of all those things that you hope for is that they will materialize, they will come to fruition. And so you have to look now for the evidence of it happening. And you can see from what we have done in transforming Jamaica and taking on the big problems and solving them, that this government represents the substance of your hope and the evidence of the things that you are looking for. So you can have faith in this government to deliver on your dreams and aspirations, to ensure that we move Jamaica from poverty to prosperity. And that is why it is a good decision to choose Jamaica and choose the Jamaica Labour Party. With that, I thank you for your attentiveness. And as workers and supporters and average Jamaicans who are here, I thank you for your service, for your dedication and loyalty. God bless you.
That was a paid political broadcast of Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness's address at the JLP's North East Manchester Workers' Awards ceremony on Sunday, June 29, 2025. It was brought to you by the Jamaica Labour Party.
The Watchman, exploring issues shaping our society, government and business. Provocative, unconventional, Dr. Henley Morgan is The Watchman.
Good evening. Tourism's Jamaica First policy. Tourism has ascended to the preeminent position in Jamaica's economy. Although not listed as an export product because it is consumed locally, tourism's gross annual earnings, which exceed $4 billion United States dollars, makes it Jamaica's biggest earner of foreign exchange, 130% more than the country earns from its merchandise exports. By Minister Edmund Bartlett's estimation, tourism's domestic retention of 40% places it second after only remittances with respect to direct circulation of money in the local economy. Add to that the fact that tourism directly employs 10% of the employed labor force, and that it constitutes around 13% of gross domestic product, GDP, and you have a strong argument for putting all our eggs in this one basket called tourism. But tourism suffers from the proverbial Achilles heel, lack of equity and inclusiveness in the distribution of proceeds or revenue. November 27 to 29, 2017, Jamaica hosted the World Tourism Organization UNWTO Conference on Jobs and Inclusive Growth at the Montego Bay Convention Center. In his opening address, Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett made the following earth-shattering point. He said, the Jamaican tourism sector is skewed so that almost 80% of the benefits go to 20% at the top, who are the large accommodation owners, with only about 20% going to the 80% at the bottom, who are the small and informal players in the sector. In his turn at the podium, outgoing UNWTO Secretary General Taleb Rafai created a firestorm of criticism by suggesting the all-inclusive concept, for which Jamaica is known, instead of improving the situation, has worsened the problem. It is within this context that a government policy decision announced by the tourism minister in his contribution to the 2025-2026 sectoral debate in the House of Representatives must be understood and highlighted. I quote in part from the Daily Observer, June 18, 2025 edition. The tourism ministry is to pursue a policy that will, among other things, pass legislation and implement incentives to ensure greater participation of Jamaican manufacturers, farmers, creatives, and professionals in the tourism supply chain. This approach ensures more local money stays in the Jamaican hands and circulates through our communities. End quote. The Observer article went on to explain that the policy initiative named Jamaica First will make every Jamaican a tourism stakeholder by promoting shared tourism prosperity. This announcement by the tourism minister ranks right up there with some of his top achievements for the sector, such as the Agri-Linkages Exchange and the Global Tourism and Crisis Management Center, headquartered at the University of the West Indies, Mona. It can't happen too soon. Think on these things.
Produced by Agency for Inner City Renewal, AIR, and recorded in the Jamming Studio, Trenchtown, a breath of fresh air bringing change to the inner city.
Portmore, you spoke and we listened. JPS is returning to the Sunshine City. Starting July 2025, you'll be able to visit the My JPS Care Hub inside Fontana Portmore. Get answers to queries related to billing, payment, prepaid electricity, service requests, and more. Our agents will be on the ground to ensure you are in and out in no time. Look out for the My JPS Care Hub in Fontana Portmore, coming this July. JPS, powering what matters.
26 minutes after 7 o'clock. We're now going to take your calls, and you know the numbers to call us. 876-630-937124 or 618-8255. Give us a call.
Years of dreams, 50 years of finger-licking good memories, yeah.
Thank you, Jamaica, for 50 years of finger-licking good memories. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Multi-link, access every time, everywhere I go. Multi-link, 24/7
24/7 access for me. It's just a win-win when we use multi-link. This card is Jamaican built, yeah. Fast and secure, you can use anywhere. Spend while supporting the economy.
Look for the multi-link logo on your card and benefit from Jamaica's largest debit payment network.
Multi-link, 24/7 access for me.
What would I do without my multi-link?
Why rush around town for back-to-school shopping? Nationwide 90 FM is making it easy at our back-to-school fair. Come get your child measured for uniforms, check their shoe size, and purchase essentials right there on the spot. St. James, Hanover, Westmoreland, Trelawney, St. Elizabeth. We've got everything in one place just for you. That's Saturday, July 26, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at Harmony Beach Park, Montego Bay. The Nationwide 90 FM Back-to-School Fair.
Residents of Portmore, you spoke and we listened. JPS is returning to the Sunshine City. Starting July 2025, you'll be able to visit the My JPS Care Hub inside Fontana Portmore. Get answers to queries related to billing, payment, prepaid electricity, service requests, and more. Our agents will be on the ground to ensure you are in and out in no time. Look out for the My JPS Care Hub in Fontana Portmore, coming this July. JPS, powering what matters.
50 years of dreams, 50 years of finger-licking good memories, yeah.
Thank you, Jamaica, for 50 years of finger-licking good memories. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Thank you so very much for sticking and staying with us right here inside Nationwide at 5. We're working the phone lines now. Pardon me. I'm Tyrone Reed and he's confused. Yeah, we're working the phone lines. We're taking your calls. Who do we have on line, Sir Cliff?
I think it's Bobby. Good evening, Bobby.
Good evening, Bobby.
Good evening, Hanglo Bango.
Magena. Bless up yourself, Sir Bobby.
How's everything, man? Everything cool?
I give thanks, man. We're not complaining, man. How are things with you?
Well, you know, I feel the prosperity and I feel and I smell the victory coming, you know.
Showers of blessing, as your party leader said.
Yes, man. Always, man. Always. Sir Cliff?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. I would like to ask a question. Is the opposition leader getting some leak information from the Integrity Commission or what?
I don't know. I wouldn't know.
Because I cannot understand how is it he's going on the political platform, making all these wild allegations and so on, especially against the Prime Minister. He doesn't know who is under investigation. He said that he asked his people, right, the investigation that he do on his side. And he found out that none of them are under investigation.
No, that's not exactly what he said.
He said they told him that they are not aware.
Right. They're not aware, which is very instructive.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So
because if you can't... Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Cliff.
If he cannot determine if they're under investigation or not unless he is told or advised by the Integrity Commission, and the Integrity Commission is not in a position to do that. So he's saying that based on what they have said to him, his members, are not aware that they're under investigation.
And additionally, Cliff and Sir Bobby, if you recall, how things unfolded with the Prime Minister, he wasn't immediately told that he was being investigated for illicit enrichment. There were a series of back and forth between him and the Integrity Commission before they finally told him on a particular date. So people must say that, which is why I would suppose the opposition leader said that he's not, all of them have said they're not aware Because the truth is, and that is really no comfort to anyone, which is the point I'm really trying to make, because you can be under investigation and you're not yet told that you are in fact being investigated for illicit enrichment. If we are to go by the timeline of the Prime Minister, Sir Cliff, if you recall, that was a part of the issue as well. When was the Prime Minister actually told that he was being investigated for illicit enrichment? The truth is, Bobby, who should be telling us this is the Integrity Commission. The Integrity Commission, what we're doing now, we're basically placing everybody under the cloud of suspicion, because the Integrity Commission is not able to say who they are investigating. We solve this malady by allowing the Integrity Commission to say who exactly they are looking into.
Exactly. Very much so, Tyrone, and I think as a responsible opposition leader, if he wants the people to have credit in him, he must go on the political stage and make responsible criticism, and don't make those wild ones. And on the last point, I would like to say, the other day I saw the Prime Minister. I think it was down in Trelawney, down in Miss Dalrymple, Philibert constituency, when the Prime Minister go and keys to an old lady. And to be honest, to how the lady was happy in her vote of thanks, the lady cried. And make I tell her something, it moved me. It really moved me to tears, because the lady said she never knew that she would live to really own a home. These are some of the things that people should really look on, and don't let color blind them. They must look on performance, right, and vote for performance, right? Because if my party is going down the wrong way, I will tell them publicly. But so far, they are performing, and whatsoever I see they are doing, trust me, they are steering the country in the right direction. So, okay then, and God bless you.
Thank you, Mars Bobby. Yeah, man, thank you. Did you see that? Thank you, Mars Bobby. Have a good one. Did you see the video that Bobby is referencing, Sir Cliff? I saw it. It was quite a moving video.
No, I haven't seen it.
I've seen it. It's quite a moving video to see, that an elderly Jamaican, an older Jamaican, as we are instructed to say these days, breaking down like that, trying to say thank you for the good deed that was done to her in terms of the new home that was being given to her. It was quite a beautiful thing to see.
Yeah. Richie, good evening.
Good evening,
Good evening, Richie.
Bangaman, big up yourself as usual.
Anglia Bangaman.
I've been seeing the third term started loading for the first council election. The reason being, Mark Ward and the PMP was out there campaigning for 4 years. Andrew was under the big gun. The crime, garbage collection, bad road and water. And he only campaigned for 16 days and win election. I said to myself, if he had campaigned for 2 months, Mark Ward and the PMP couldn't be nowhere there. One of the things that I've been noticing, that they take up the government, which they had was paying 70 cents out of every dollar for budget. And I said if they continue to do that, the debt must come down. And if the debt come down, they're going to have money to do other things. And one of the things that happened, they bring it down to they have money to be fighting crime. And that is what the big ticket right now. So this government doesn't have any, crime is still there, but I think everybody should be satisfied that the crime is coming down, that we see a good side from it. We see water is turning on, water project coming on. But road over the Hunter Highland is been fixed never like this before. And how those things, garbage, no more of a complaint. So I don't see the thing that stop Andrew from winning the parish council. That time will be a problem this time. So I'm saying, put all of these things together. I'm saying the third term is fully loaded. Cliff, I can remember that day when I went up to the meeting, Peter Phillips' constituency. You said each time I go to the JLP meetings, you see young people, and when you go to the PMP meeting, you see the older people. And you know what I said from that clip? I said that the PMP party is dying. And you know one of the signs that I look on, you see like Maxine Henry Wilson. That is an open age, you know. And the cliff, you can remember Ricardo. Keep calling the whole man. You see, once you're open age, the younger people no respect, you know. And I can use a good example as well. You see, when Christopher Martin and Nadie Virtue, Jordan Punch with the Rising Star, it was 2 against 1, you know. I mean, talk about Christopher win the contest because the younger people vote for him. I'm saying, like, I mean, when...
All right, Richie. I think you have, we should send you a bill for your paid political advertorial. Yes? You have been going on for 4 or 5 minutes. That's about $400,000 you owe us. Okay. All right, Richie. No, Tyrod. I got to start charging them now. Yeah. And here comes another one. Carl, good evening.
Evening, brother Tyrod.
Good evening, Mascar.
You did pray for me last night, yesterday, every sermon.
That's for me, Cliff.
Yeah.
He's asking if that's for you, for him, or for me.
I never know a preacher, man. I Tyrone, me here.
Oh, okay, good.
Tyrone
is a preacher.
And as long as he not be like Mr. Panton, he's supposed to be a good preacher.
I don't know why Mr. Panton do you.
I know. Yesterday, last night from Fletcher's Land, I heard the MP Minister, Colonel Charles Brunner, and he asked some question about 4 months ago, and he re-asked the question last night. And all I was listening, I was wondering if we would hear something from Jam today, from the Integrity Commission. Name all of them people who say them are human rights in Jamaica. Mr. Charles asked a question. How can a man be a citizen of a country, have a Jamaica passport, and get a same visa back in a hit for the same country which he is a citizen? Something not right. It cannot happen. And Mr. Charles asked a question already, and he re-asked it last night. And I don't hear none.
What is the question?
He asked a question about 4 months ago, and he asked it last night. Let me tell you, he asked it last night. He said, how could the leader of the opposition be a citizen of England and him out going one country and him get a visa into a Jamaica passport? Mr. Charles said last night that that's not right. It cannot.
Let me see if I can help him here, Cliff, and perhaps you can, since you're the more learned of the two of us. Now, I think he's talking about before the actual renunciation came, or Mr. Golding said he had renounced, right? He had appeared on one of these programs and basically said he had to join the line like anybody else. I go through the same process like anyone else, and that because he wanted to get a visa to go to the UK, but that was before he actually admitted he had
a visa.
That he was a citizen.
Yes.
And then the eventual publication came in the Gleaner about him renouncing. So the question is, how are you going to get a visa when you are already a UK citizen? Because I think that at that point he had not renounced as yet.
And that's where the
or
accusation
at least he hadn't said so. And that's where, I'm theorizing that's where it came from.
And the accusation that he lied.
I gather that is what is being put on the table, because how would you get a visa when you're a citizen? Why would they grant a citizen a visa?
Yes.
It's a reasonable question.
It's a reasonable
question.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
And Mr. Charles asked it twice now, and nobody no jump on it. All right. I heard a lot of persons used to talk about how Warmington is this and that and all kind of things. As bad as things, Mr. Warmington find out that he make an error last night in Westmoreland. Whether he come under pressure from the leader, anybody, Mr. Warmington apologize. Mr. Bunting went inside the Senate and mislead the country that a contractor doesn't get paid. The contractor came out and said, no go so. They asked Mr. Bunting to apologize. Up to today, no, nothing. Donna Scott Matley, Thursday gone, mislead about the Integrity Commission again. They might ask her to apologize, everybody silent. Where is all of these human rights? When it is something concerning the PMP, everybody gone to bed over 89 Old Hope Road. Everybody goes violent.
But we can't allow you to get away with that, because and here's why we can't allow that. So we should call out one, and we should also call out the other. You telling us about these doesn't mean that people shouldn't seek to hold Mr. Warmington accountable for what he did.
That's not what I am saying.
Mr. Warmington and everybody else should be held accountable. So don't raise one in light of the other. They should be held accountable, both of them. You call on Friday and yourself and someone is defending him, and see, this is how he repays you.
I would add to that, Tyrone and Carl and listeners. We operate in a democracy, yes? And there comes a point when media, as in we can't get up every day to make a political point. That suits you, Carl. It has been ventilated, yes, especially the issue of Mr. Bunting's performance in the Senate, only to learn later that he was either badly misinformed, ill-advised, or he outrightly lied. We don't know. And he has been hauled over the coals for it, but not a word from him. What do we do in media? Come here every day?
No.
Exactly. Same thing with Donna Scott Matley. I said it this morning. Yeah. I anticipate that we will be hearing shortly from Donna Scott Matley. Yeah. And if she does not respond like Bunting, we have some recourse in the democracy, One,
absolutely.
They lose their standing, yeah. Their credibility takes a hit, yeah. And if during later the year the voters put enough of a premium on this, they may decide to use that in deciding how they vote or not. That is how democracies work,
Fair enough. Anyhow, Mr. give.
All right, Carl. Thank you.
All right. But Sir Cliff, I know we can't come every day and talk about the same things, because it's a product as well that you're putting out there. But it can't be acceptable, and it must always be declared when it comes up that it can't be acceptable that you've been declared to have been found in the wrong, and you decide that you're just going to be silent about it. It can't be acceptable
and
from
tough
Mr.
it out.
Bunting
Yes.
at all. Absolutely can't be acceptable.
And what is very troubling, the People's National Party in opposition has been caught in similar embarrassing situations far too frequently now.
I'm so happy you raised that point, because I wanted to raise it, and as you know, I'm getting up in age, so it escaped me. How many times are they going to come public, Sir Cliff, and make these bold declarations without checking the facts?
Yep.
We see it with the NWC issue involving Hales.
Mm-hmm.
It's also this issue involving Bunting and the contractor.
Yes.
And there was another recent one which is escaping me now that I think it's the Donna Scott Motley one as well.
Yes.
How often are they going to come? Julian Robinson as well, who has found himself in legal hot water over declaring, making this bold declaration that wasn't accurate.
But
it says
but
that the
Tyrone,
opposition
but to be accurate and faithful, Julian separated himself from the rest of them.
By withdrawing.
By withdrawing and apologizing very clearly. Yeah? The very same day. He didn't make 24 hours past. Bunting has done no such thing. Scott Motley, no such thing up to today. Yeah, and the PNP is taking the PNP is taking a hit because more and more they are caught, or what is the term I see they use on social media? They've been busted. Yeah.
but Sir Cliff, I hear you, and it's a significant point to me that Julian apologized and he withdrew the comments. But he did it in the first place, which I'm saying shows us a pattern from this opposition, where they are coming out and they're speaking boldly, and they are not doing the due diligence and research necessary.
They're not doing their
How
homework.
do you come out and make these statements without first verifying and checking?
Yeah.
It can't be acceptable.
No, it's not. All right. 11 minutes going up to 8 o'clock. Errol is on the line. Good evening, Errol.
Good evening, Errol. Hi, greetings, man.
Tyrone.
Bless up, Master.
Bless up. Mr. Hughes, I know them alone. Dolls do the same thing to you, know.
Yes.
And if they apologize now to the Jamaican people, do the same thing. Anyhow, Mr. Hughes and Tyrone, I want to ask a question. Can you tell me what my Prime Minister campaign plan, please?
Performance, achievements in office. Yes. That's clear.
All?
Performance, achievements.
Yeah.
What else?
Yeah.
What else? What else?
Yeah, me no man. Come to Tyrone. Tell me no Tyrone.
What do you mean? This is where you get to shine, man. Come on, tell us. What else is he running on?
All the good performance we might do, the achievements, in kind of campaign, but then it's done.
Then that me say.
Road that do.
But me not understand the error. That me say.
Yeah.
Achievements and performance. Me say it in a 3 words.
All right. Thank you.
But you want to use 300 words to say it.
Can you tell me what Marky G campaigning on?
Corruption.
What?
Corruption.
But secondly, they're also making a case to be, campaigning on non-facts, things that are not factual.
Yes.
Because so many of them are coming out and saying things that are not fact. That is basic in a circle. How do you want to run a country when you don't do basic research on things before you declare them to be so? Like, that's elementary.
And another
go ahead with the ad, Errol.
Them campaign pan, lie.
You lie
to the Jamaican people. But more than the Jamaican people asleep, all them high open to make them a campaign pan, lie. And that's a 2 o'clock when for the night, Mr. Hughes and Tyrone.
All right, my boss, thank you. It's a serious thing to consider, Sir Cliff.
Yes.
That so many of these spokespeople have gone up on the stump and have made these remarks that are just not factual. It's frightening, you know.
Yes. It suggests, and I don't put it any stronger than that if they were ever to form government, how would the policy-making products be arrived at? Because they're showing a propensity not to do basic homework.
No, it says that they what ought to be the government in waiting or potential government in waiting, that they are not prepared for the job. And that's what it says. If you can come and make, what would it have taken of the spokesperson on water, I think it was, E. Hales, to have contacted the NWC and say, were you contacted about this program that was announced by the Prime Minister? Yes. What would it have taken for him to have done that? Yet he came forward and told the country that the NWC did not know about this, forcing a government entity to enter the political fray. That's our responsibility, isn't it? Yeah. And having to say, no, that is not true. We were consulted and we have to formulate the policy.
That's the same Hales that made the spurious allegations about water tanks in Westmoreland, who are being handed to JLP supporters by the government. But that's familiar territory for that one.
It can't be acceptable, though. It can't be acceptable, and the people of Jamaica should demand better from the opposition.
Yes. And they're going to have to be, they will be held accountable, you know. The debates are coming. The campaign is coming, yes, when I'm sure these things are going to be ventilated and litigated once again.
Well, they should, because people should be held accountable. Yeah. We might not, you know, as they used to say in Jamaica, and certainly for many of the younger listeners may know this, long run, short catch.
Yes.
We might not be able to talk about it every single day we come on like some people would want us to do, lest we be accused again of campaigning,
exactly.
Right? But when you hold them, when you get them in a forum, Sir Cliff, where they can't dodge and dance and evade, the media ought to ensure that we hold them accountable for those things. And that goes for both sides of the political aisle.
Absolutely. We have one more to go. Who done it? Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
How are you, YouTubers? Have a blessed evening. Cliff.
This is Who Done It, who is usually I see a name on the YouTubers. YouTube?
Yes, it is Sir Cliff.
Okay.
Tyrone, we spoke recently, and we had a little situation where there was a misunderstanding. I think you still don't get the point. But anyway, this evening, the offer with you guys are really on a solid ground, you know, in terms of what the PNP is really doing. They're throwing away a lot of opportunities. It's clear that they have not actually embarked on a proper plan. In my view, they felt that the Integrity Commission argument would have been enough to dirt the Prime Minister, and therefore they're not really sure that they have much respect for us. Time come is a good enough slogan, and then the Jamaican people just buy into it, and a default good stepped in. So you guys, that is essentially how I'm seeing it. Sir Cliff and Tyrone.
Yeah.
The disrespect, as Cliff has always said that the PNP has gone intellectually lazy and just taking things for granted. And as you said, how they actually put things together, they're totally not prepared. And you also embark on a point where the political campaign is going to hit them, or the odds are going to let them feel like running away. And I'm not sure if they are going to be really enthused about participating in the political debate. My last point before I depart, Cliff, this international forensic report, I think it should be presented, and I believe that the JLP has erred when they invited the Integrity Commission to the Parliament. On condition, they should never have come there without that integrity report. So,
you mean that forensic report?
Yeah.
By the international forensic expert.
Yeah. And the other thing, before I go, the establishment of the IC Act, and it is said that Mark Golding was he solely responsible for took in that integrity commission, all the ramifications, all the legal jargons, everything. And if that was so, was there a review committee and was the JLP totally asleep while Mark Golding was actually putting things in his favor? And now we hear him once again running out that interfering, and as a lawyer, he's stepping out of line again. What's your thought on it, Cliff?
First of all, I think your premise is not entirely accurate. Yes, Mark Golding, when he was Minister of Justice, yes.
What year was that?
That would have been about 2014, between 2013. Yeah, Minister of Justice. He was responsible for crafting the law of the now Integrity Commission. Yes? But who
was the other person involved? Yeah.
I don't know who was the other, but remember, what I do know is that ministerial responsibility was with Golding when he was Minister of Justice in the Simpson Miller administration. And the Holness administration came into power in 2016 and implemented the legislation that started under the Simpson Miller administration when he was a justice minister. And it wasn't a situation where him alone lock up in a room and write it, the legislation.
I have to wonder if it was so, based on the fact of how it is playing out, and it seems as if they're sort of allegedly conspired. And it doesn't really looking good, and the Integrity Commission has been badly tainted and all of that. So,
that is a tragedy in all of this, how the Integrity Commission has lost so much credibility in the eyes of the public.
Absolutely.
That's where I'm going to leave it. That's all the time we have. Thank you very much, Sir Tyrone Reed. Yes? You're growing some hair, man.
Yeah, we're trying,
What? At a cold cause that?
Our age.
but it look like he used Dido Tyrone.
Not at all.
Oh, please. You're
not
here.
At all.
Yeah?
No.
Not
at all.
You use a woolly dye.
No, Sir Cliff. Unlike you, I don't use any dye.
Well, I don't deny it. That's how we keep mine. This mine totally shaved. Yeah? No.
Because I'm wondering, what are you dyeing?
There's nothing to dye. That's how we're going to leave it. Thanks to our producer, Dana Davey, our technical operator, Mr. Boogs, members of the news and production unit led by our editor, Cara Powell. I'm Cliff Hughes.
John Rodri. Good evening.
Good evening.